Hello, YouTube. Welcome back again. This is part 2 of the Killer Comic Show, episode 4 or 5. Let's go. I'll say we go with episode 5. How you guys feeling? That was pretty. No,
that was
awesome. My special guest,
mate. I just want to say thank you, Charlie, for arranging that because it was just really like. I know it's sad, okay. But like, I do get a buzz when I speak to creators who are working with Marvel or DC or whatever. You know, like for me, that's a big deal. So yeah, but he was just so humble and nice, and inspiring. Everything I could never be.
True. It was wicked. I thought he was so down to earth. So down to earth. He was just so chilled out. It's probably because it's 10 o'clock in the morning over there. And it's like 9 o'clock at night.
He's had his cereal, he's had a chinwag with 3 Brits, and now he's having his day.
He's set himself up for the day now, mate.
We are taking over YouTube tonight. Someone's got to do it. I mean,
what you gonna do?
What you gonna do
when it gets for you?
Oh God, you can tell I've been out dancing for a while.
We are, man. Is that your man? I thought you was. Are you all right?
I was about to say, do we need to call you an ambulance or something? Was that a heart attack or a stroke?
Oh, good. Fat joke. Thanks.
Jeff Schultz, thanks for joining us, mate, all the way from Chicago. Thank you very much.
Chicago!
He's having his cereal as well. What's wrong with it? Like, these breakfast and a Cockney, that's the stable diet in America now.
We've got GP Venom in. We've got the missing member of the quadruple, because I know you don't like the word community, Ben, so I'm going to go with that. We've got Andy in.
Don't say the C word.
Okay. Comic.
Charlie.
But it's been great. Thank you for being able to share that with me. We've got the one and only Captain Comics has joined us. Ahoy, mates and mermaids. Thanks for joining us, sir. Hope you are well. Tori was in the chat earlier. So I'm not sure why Captain missed it, but I'm sure he'll cap it. I'm sure he'll catch it on the replay. But really, it was great.
Segue there, mate. I'm sure he'll cap it.
I'm on one tonight. I'm in my Jonathan Ross mode. But it was great. It was great being able to share that with you guys, and it's great just to be able to give back to us guys. Like, we enjoy their comics. They do it for us to be able to talk to one of the biggest artists, I'd say, at the moment. He's absolutely killing it.
I think he's the definition of up and coming, isn't he?
Yeah.
They must, they spend so much time, obviously, like head down working. So, to have us kiss their ass for an hour, I'm sure he enjoyed it just as much as we did.
I come on here for that. That's why I come on here every week.
Peter said Tom's face when he mentioned J. Scott Campbell priceless. Now, I was more shocked with the face that Tom made when Ben was on a couple of weeks dressed as a clown.
Why have we always got to bring this up?
Sorry, it must just be because we are assembly.
Yeah, me and Ben used to be really good mates until he did that.
Every time Tom goes to fetch like a pair of shoes from under his bed, he just sees my face now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Here's an exclusive, right? Is it a few weeks, Charlie, or we might have another potential guest coming on, and I will dress up again. Okay?
Oh, nice.
That's all I'm saying at this point.
Is it the one we were
need every viewer we can get?
About? Is it the one we were potentially talking about, who I've been speaking to today?
No.
Okay.
It's.
Hold on, you can't have private chats without me.
It's the other one. I'm confused. I don't think anyone knows actually what I mean. It's such a teaser that nobody knows.
Not even
you're teasing me, and it's on my channel.
Now I'm doubting myself. I don't even think I know.
It was the one that I was talking about earlier. That's the only one I've been talking to.
No. There's something else that's already set up. Potentially. Do you remember? It's
But you're gonna have to put it in a private chat.
Let me chat on this. Hold on, I'm working from my phone here.
Go to private chat. Tom, yours been used as me, mate. I haven't got. I can't remember what he's talking about.
Right, I've just posted it on the thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's-
I'll be
that's
dressing up
in-
for that, and I think that's in a few weeks, isn't it?
That's
For
in
me,
April. That's in
Mine-
Oh, it's
April.
in April. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, we'll tantalise them for
Everyone
a few
knows about
months.
that. We're gonna have David Bryan on and Francesco Valentina. Hopefully, she will be joining us to discuss issue number 2 of Stake, which is I'm looking forward to that. It looks. She sent me a screen grab of 2 panels of the artwork from it, and it looks. Honestly, I think it's true what David said in the chat when he was on a couple of weeks ago. Is that you think the artwork's good in this? In issue 2, she's kind of come into her own. And I was speaking to her yesterday, and she's done Artemis.
Oh, yeah.
She's done the trade paperback of that is now out, and she's done Artemis as well, which is pretty decent. Like I'm really looking forward to that. Obviously, I think she might just join us in the chat again, or she will come on because obviously she's Italian, her English isn't all that. But hopefully, ain't all that, mate. It's not all that. But yeah, hopefully, who knows?
Hey, if you have a look at the comments, Andy knew what Ben was talking about when we didn't.
The thing is, we speak on like a bald-to-bald wavelength that you guys are not in tune with.
I have to be honest, I almost had a bit of like FOMO then. I was like, oh.
So did I. But Jeff was like, that was the first episode I watched, so I hopefully it was a good one.
First and the last.
We literally we just finished the show before this, Jeff, and it was with the very talented David Nakayama. So do check that out. He's such a down to earth, amazing guy doing some absolutely killing stuff at the moment, and it will some of the fantastic comics. I think they're available on a shop called what is it, Tom?
Notquitemint.com.
There we go. Cheeky plug.
7 minutes, 30 seconds today.
I didn't do it.
I managed to hold off for quite a bit of time, which is
he's slacking. So obviously we are here in this part 2 of the show to review the comics that we chose this week. Now, Tom, you chose Radiant Black.
I did.
Ben chose. What did you choose, Ben?
Thunderbolts 2.
Thunderbolts. Andy, who isn't even here, threw us a curveball and chose Scouts on the 2, which I'd read number 1, was just about to get into number 2, and you guys were like, don't even bother, so I didn't. And then Tom threw another curveball and said, well, why don't we go with Mighty Morphin? Did you read it, Ben? I know he told you it.
No, you gave me like 15 minutes to read it. Like, no, I haven't. And the worst thing is as well, I'm not up to date. Like, I've only read that first issue of the new, arc. So, unfortunately, as, intelligent as I am, I can't read comics, like 7 comics at that speed, I'm afraid.
And I chose Orcs, and it was based on the fact that I like the look of the cover of it. Orcs.
I could listen to you say that all night.
This is totally Orcs. I went on this based on...
Is it because he's Italian and all that?
Orcs.
It's spelled ORCS. The way Charlie says it is like AWKS.
It was Orcs reading Orcs, yeah.
I
went on that based on it looked like a good comic book cover. It's from Boom Studios, and Andy had it. I think it was either his wild card of the week or one of his pick of the weeks. So I was like, all right, I'll give that a go. What comic should we start on? Do we start on the best one of the week and work our way back, or start on the worst and go forward?
Well, to be fair, all of the books that we're going to, unless we do Mighty Morphin, pretty much all the books we picked, it's really hard to pick a good one.
Mm-hmm.
No. Okay. On that note, let's start on Thunderbolts.
Start with you then, mate.
You read this, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Ben, I've blocked you out, mate.
That's perfect.
I blocked myself out. It's fine. It's all right.
Charlie,
how are we doing this?
Reminds me who wrote and drew this, because I haven't made my notes.
Right. Okay. So it was. Let me just go on to
credit said parties, don't we?
It was.
But this is the second issue, basically, of the King in Black tie-in Thunderbolts. So the first
Rosenberg was Matthew Rosenberg was the writer. Joan Ferreira was the artist, and VC's Joe Sabino was the letterer.
Cool.
And we've got Kyle Holtz and Dan Brown on the cover artists.
All right. And do you want to name the editors? Or I'm joking.
The cover was Marco Cicchetto.
Right. Just setting the premise out. Basically, the first issue, Kingpin, who is currently kind of manipulated the political system and is serving as his mayor, isn't he? I think of New York. And he has comprised a new team of Thunderbolts, but it's kind of very Suicide Squad-esque in the sense that he's essentially picked really expendable, characters. No, it's probably for the best if you cover my face.
It's all right, mate. It's fine.
Yes, and that was kind of proven in the first issue with a few kind of comedy spots where people are killed essentially from the team, or Rhino just basically leaves. So I loved that first issue. I think the humor was fantastic. I think the artwork was kind of stylized in parts and in other parts kind of very gritty and realistic, and I really enjoyed that. But it had a lot of character to it in the faces and stuff. This second issue felt so fluid in terms of, like, sometimes you kind of read these books and they feel different from book to book in terms of feel and everything when you've had that couple of weeks away from it, but it felt so fluid, like it just I felt like I hadn't stopped reading that first issue. Everything I just said carried on to positive effect. I think there was a moment in this. Are we doing spoilers warnings, or are we just not spoiling? Or
Your button, Charlie.
Get your button out, Charlie. You got it.
Yes. Right. Anyone watching this? I know Sean had a go at me the other week saying, "I watch your show and you do spoilers." So yeah, here's a spoiler warning. Go on, Ben.
Shut up, Sean. See that on there. Right. So the moment that stood out for me in this book was the moment they found Sentry, or half of Sentry.
Oh my God! Yeah.
In a bush. For me, that just perfectly summed up why this book is so brilliant. It's brilliant because it takes place during, the whole King in Black event, but kind of happens in the background, and everything that's kind of they're doing doesn't really affect the main story, and they kind of know that, and they kind of don't care. And I think the comedy element of them bringing out, half century in it, and it being a comedy moment when in King in Black, that was like one of the most horrific, game-changing moments at the beginning. So that kind of perfectly summed up for me the tone of the book. I'm loving seeing more, character of like Batroc. Taskmaster, I know he has got his solo series at the moment, which is also quite good if you haven't read it. But seeing like Taskmaster, Batroc and stuff, seeing their characters, a little bit more and getting more exploration and stuff of that, I'm really enjoying. And it's just a funny ass book. Like the moment where they hit symbiotic deer with their van.
That was one of my parts. That was wicked. Like it was graphic and it was humorous as well. Just the way the deer just turns around, like all venomous and looking like. Ugh.
I mean, I said it last time. This is what the Suicide Squad should be. Should have been the film and stuff. So, I'm really enjoying it. So,
but
long story short, shut up, Tom.
On issue number 3, they at the end of issue 2, they've given away what the cover is on issue number 3. They kind of tend to do this on the King in Black covers, and it's a pretty decent cover if you haven't seen it.
Put it up.
They're spoiler covers, aren't they?
I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's got like the Sentry S, and it's a pretty like they're kind of. I'm not really sure if I'm a fan of that. I mean, I know one of the comics we'll be getting onto did it as well, Tom. But I'm not really sure if I'm a fan of them doing that because it kind of. Do you know what I mean? It takes away the mystery of.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of the spoiler covers, but I think this is like Ben said, it's the idea of the ones for the Thunderbolts. I think it's comedy value more than being an actual spoiler. It's just kind of like we're going to take the mickey out of the fact that they are doing spoiler covers for the main series. On the actual book itself, for me, I thought this was the best one of the group that we chose to read. I didn't think it was the strongest book I read this week, but it was a very good book, and I did enjoy it, to be perfectly honest.
You see, I after reading the ones that we read, this was kind of, I'm glad we chose the one that we did, but this one, out of all the original ones we read, I was like, this has to be the best one. I mean, I did like Radiant Black, and then I gave this a read, and then I started noticing little things in it, like, as you said, with the deer, that was
cool.
epic. What else did I write down? I said, like,
I just love the fact that like they are the Z list, and in this book, they literally go to Ravencroft or wherever it is, and there's like villains and stuff that are even worse than them, that even they don't respect.
It's even Mr. Fear's like, who the hell is Ball Rasher and Thumb Banger or something?
Even that sentence, Mr. Fear, like before this book, who was Mr. Fear? Do you know what I mean? Like, but I have fallen in love with Mr. Fear from these two issues. Like, I want more Mr. Fear. Like, I love the idea of this abhorrent, like, horrible, you know, creepy kind of, and it was great in this as well that they kind of put their masks back on and things.
Oh, that was one of the scenes that I really liked. Like,
that was cool.
The big action scene where the symbiote dragon comes through and they're all kicking off against the villains. That I think it's Mr. Fear turns around and says, "Oh, they weren't good enough to have on our team, but Noel's just recruited them and they seem to be doing all right."
Yeah.
But when they put their mask back on, it's pretty iconic.
There's so many lines like from it, and so many you know, visual gags and things like that. I think it's a really hard thing. Romance, action, you know, all of that stuff, I think, is easier to do than comedy when it comes to comic books. I think comedy genuinely is one of the harder things to do. And Tom, as an artist as well, like, I'm sure you can kind of vouch, it's sometimes maybe hard to get comedy across as well with sarcasm and things in terms of like characteristics in the face and stuff. But like, this book just seems to be nailing it. I mean, there was a moment in this where it's like they're on FaceTime or whatever, and Kingpin's like, says to Taskmaster, "Oh, punch him, will you?" And he punches him, and it's just such a dry, you know, humor moment, but it kind of plays out so well. And yeah, obviously, you know me, I love my gags, and it has plenty of them, and I'm just really enjoying it. I genuinely think it's one of the, if not the funniest book I'm reading at the moment.
I mean, I honestly, Tom, I don't know what you thought, but I really liked the part where they say, "Oh, has the fat guy called?" And he's on the phone, and then the part where Taskmaster smacks Mr. Fear in the face. I really liked that. I thought that was a really good panel.
I liked the bit where he throws Star out of the back of the bus.
Yeah.
Just because she'd finished her sentence, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, off you go then." See it.
And Mr. Fear's like talking to her. She's like carrying them, and she's like, "Don't fucking talk to me at the moment. Like, I'm trying to carry you. Like,
I'm trying to carry a bus."
You know, all of that stuff. It's just so hard to get right, but I honestly feel like they've got it right. And in a way, I think it's really served the second book well. Them cutting down the group.
Yeah.
You know, so we obviously had some, like, was it 2 deaths in the first one or 1 death? I can't remember. And Rhino obviously left, which I was sad about because I do love Rhino. But I think it worked just having the 4 of them now. You know, it worked because they could all have the spotlight a little bit more, and I've got to know their characters a lot more. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. The one thing I would say is sometimes the artwork doesn't feel consistent. Sometimes I think the style seems a bit sporadic. But other than that, I'm just really, really enjoying it. I kind of want it to have better covers. I haven't really liked the first and second cover. And there's no variants for it, which is a shame. Am I keeping you up?
Yeah, sorry, mate. I was just waiting. Sorry.
You did one of those
like
yawns where you like breathe it in, and instead of like open mouth, it's like a wide mouth. Like, thanks for that. But yeah, so for me, that was my choice. Glad you guys agree with me.
No, but when you when number 1 came out, I think you chose that, and I chose Planet of the Symbiotes that week because I thought it tied in more with the appearance of Null. Obviously, it ties into King in Blackmore and stuff like that, and obviously there's Cassidy shown in it. But then reading Thunderbolts number 1 and then reading number Thunderbolts 2 this week, this one ties in so much more than the rest of the tie-ins out there. I mean, Black Panther, I haven't read that this week. I'm not sure how that ties in. The Return of the Valkyries is kind of all over the place.
I think that the joy of this is it's literally taking place like next to or on the street next to all the main stuff, and that in itself is you are.
It's like a simultaneous flow.
Yeah.
The only one that is doing it, apart from Return of the Valkyries, but that's in a completely different kind of astral plane. But this is the only one that's simultaneously running alongside King in Black, apart from Venom, which is great.
It's almost like in Endgame when they go back to the Battle of New York and they kind of the events are happening, like Hulk's in the background as they're doing their new mission. It almost felt like that, in terms of like the action. The A-listers are behind them. And that in itself, I think, is funny. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And Black Panther was my read of the week for obviously all the thousands of fans of mine that are watching will know that. But yes, that is really good. And if you step back now, it's like Thunderbolts, King in Black is quite good. Black Panther. I think the Marauders, King in Black tie-in last week was fantastic.
All right, yeah.
So already, I said it on my YouTube this week, like this event, I'm enjoying this event. So yeah, there you go. I said it here first.
It was a good event, though. We were definitely due one because, I mean, what was it? X of Swords, pants. Empire, pants. So we were due to get a decent one, to be fair. And this has been so far so good.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know the only X-Men I'm looking forward to reading? Like, I think we know by now. I'm an X-Men fan, but I can't get into the comics. The timeline's all over the place. It's worse than the movies. The only one I'm looking forward to is it comes out next week. It comes out next week, and it's them J. Scott Campbell ones that I sent you this morning. That looks like a good. Yeah, that looks like a wicked comic that can kind of just reset everything. And you can start on a normal plane, level 1.
Is it Claremont coming back?
No. It's I can't remember the name of the writer, but it's a writer who's written X-Men previously, and he's well known for writing X-Men. But he's basically writing a brand spanking new story, but set in the 90s version of the X-Men. So like all like our cartoons that we grew up reading and watching, this is all based on that. So I'm excited for that.
Fabian Nikiza. Fabian Nikiza. That seems to be the name of who's writing them. Fabian Nikiza.
I've heard rumours that they're the character that was, I mean, literally like a fart in the wind in the 90s. He's like Cyclops and Havoc's long lost brother or something. He looks like how Tom is now with his cap back to front, because that was cool in the 90s, Tom.
Yes, that's why I did it.
But yeah, I think he's coming back and stuff. I don't know. I watched a documentary this week on Chris Claremont, and it was quite an old documentary, quite dated and stuff, but it was always fantastic to kind of revisit, one of my biggest inspirations for comics and stuff. But he kind of hit the nail on the head because he was saying about revisiting characters like all the time. And I honestly feel now like I kind of don't want to see a story set with the 90s X-Men. Like, I kind of want to see that's why I loved House of X and Powers of 10 and stuff, because it felt like such a drastic new change for the X-Men. Mm-hmm. And I honestly would have been happy for a whole new roster of X-Men to kind of inhabit that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm tired, guys, of the same recycled. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Am I going on one? Yeah.
No,
but like we've obviously got Molly.
Being positive, Ben. Very positive.
We've got Molly coming up.
Extremely positive.
Well, no. Here comes the positive twist. We've got DC, as much as they rehash, everything. Like, it's nice. Like, that's why I've loved like Clown Hunter and stuff, and we got Molly coming up, this new character. I'm excited for, because it's new characters, it's new stories. You know, it's. I think, yeah, I'm done. I'm tired.
I'm looking forward to this, Molly. Miracle Molly, they call it.
Miracle Molly. I mean, it's kind of the lamest name, but in a I think they kind of have meant to do that in a way.
But do you know what they've done? Like, so obviously during Joker War and stuff, they kind of introduced Punchline. They introduced Clown Hunter. They introduced, who is it? The 3 or 4 various characters they introduced. What I don't really want, and I think Ben will agree with me, is that Clown Hunter, there's so much potential there. I don't kind of want them to think, right, we've had Clown Hunter, we've had Punchline, let's bring in Miracle Molly and put everything in her. And then like the readers are going to be like, well, what, Clown Hunter, what is he still doing? The paperwork.
He's become a secretary, isn't he?
He has. He literally got palmed off and was like, right, if you go and sign them checks, Bruce Wayne will be in to give you a banana.
Yeah, in an annual as well, not even in the main book.
In the annual. Yeah.
So I desperately hope they haven't dropped the ball on him. The rumours are that Red X is one Clown Hunter, but we still don't know that. Annoyingly, they literally showed pretty much his face with a bit of shadow on it in that new Teen Titans this week, but we still don't know who it is.
Spoiler.
Hold on.
It's not a spoiler because they didn't show us who it bloody was.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be a spoiler.
That fits in the right spot.
No, but it was. I mean, it's going to be. I still can't see how I'm going to get my head around like this whole future state thing. For me, Wonder Woman has been the best one.
Yep. Yara Floyd, mate.
100%. Like, for that, I'd love to see that carry on, but I can't see how. I just can't. Obviously, this is why I'm not a writer. This is why I'm not an artist in one of the establishments like that. I can't see how it's going to go on.
The rumours are, aren't they, that there are going to be breakout characters from this and breakout stories. Jason Todd's Red Hood story is going to continue. The
Grifters.
Yeah, the Grifters are going to continue. Yara Floyd is going to continue somehow. They're going to introduce Aquaman or Aquaman, the new Aquaman. She's going to be reintroduced. And they're going to bring over the Dark Detective somehow. So I don't know how they're going to do that.
And Red X is going to appear in Teen Titans Academy.
Yeah.
So hopefully we finally know who the hell.
Yeah, Swamp Thing's good as well. Swamp Thing's
another one that they're going to bring over.
But I mean, Justice. I mean, they're starting with this whole it's not Future State. It's Final. Is it the Frontier?
Infinite Frontier.
Infinite Frontier. They've got like a new Harley Quinn.
Not Final Frontier. Spock.
Final Frontier. Obviously, it's Final Frontier. The whatever it is, but Infinite Frontier. But they've got new. that's the new Aquawoman. They've got
Star Trek fans wish.
Yeah, they've got Harley Quinn #1. You've got Batman coming out. You've got what else is there? There's so many new comic books coming out from DC. It's kind of like, I don't know if it's confusing as a reader of DC. You're like, again, I've got to get this, I've got to get that, I've got to get into this for it to tie into that. It's kind of like my pull list is going to go up tenfold.
Yeah,
just do what I do, mate. Stick to Batman. Don't touch anything else.
Yeah, but I'm just I get into it, so I'm like, oh, I like that. So like that Jenny Frisson Wonder Woman cover, I was like, oh, I'm not going to pick that up. And I picked it up, and I'm so glad I did. But now I'm invested in that. I was like, this is awesome. So it is annoying.
That's how I got into Quantum Future. I bought it because I love the cover. It's by Dan Mora, and then I realised he did that interior artwork, and then I've ended up buying the entire series of Quantum Future. It's great, by the way. Read it.
I like it. I think it's good. That's one comic that I've really enjoyed, but I lost.
Drink every time Tom says Dan Mora.
I lost interest.
Yeah, should be a penny pot.
About issue 7, I think.
Yeah.
So I need to get back into it. But what's it? Andy's just said JSC has just dropped the final cover for Joker 1.
Yeah.
So he's done different variants, hasn't he? We've got the
The one with him dancing with Punchline.
Yeah, I think it's always him and Punchline, but in different settings and costumes. I think this new one's a punk one, which you guys know how I feel about people in a punk get-up.
Yes, we can see your erection from here, mate.
Speaking of fetishes, is it time for Peach of the Week?
Peach of the Week!
We can do this Peach of the Week. I didn't have time to do the little intro, but go for it.
Kidding me? What? So
Sorry.
people can't. I can't describe a peach. People need to see a peach.
So basically, for people in the chat,
Screen.
but I've got the big screen.
Explain it.
Then I would like you to explain. We guys in the chat, we are now doing a new section. Excuse the pun there. Called Peach of the Week, and I'm going to give it over to one of my co-hosts who will explain what Peach of the Week is.
Hi. So, Peach of the Week really is the pinnacle of intellectual conversation around comic book artwork. And it's basically where we highlight our favourite two cheeks comprised into one peach, often with something in the middle. So, basically our favourite arse from comic books. And this week, I have chosen someone I am very fond of anyway, and that is dear Quentin Quire. So in X-Force this week, and obviously we can't, post a picture because kids are watching. Hi, kids. But I've chosen Quentin Quire as he comes out of one of the eggs, the regeneration eggs or whatever, on Krakoa, and we pretty much get full peach, but not just a peach. It's covered in like goo, and that's why I selected it as Peach of the Week. Thanks, Charlie.
By the goo. The peach covered in goo.
Peach of the Week. I'm going to have to, for the viewers out there, I'm going to have to just see if I can.
I was trying to see if I can find it.
Don't pretend like you didn't save it like in the private. But yeah, I can I just say as well, while we're on the subject, there it is in all of its glory. Your ring's getting in the way.
The ring getting away with the peach. There we go.
This went downhill quick.
There you go, Quentin's Peach of the Week. But I really want to give a massive shout out to that book. Actually, it was a close contender for me for Book of the Week because I'm a massive Quentin Quire fan, and it really kind of explored his character and his journey and kind of defiance, or the right time, TB.
Who knows? Was it the right or wrong
I've
time?
got TB stats for tuberculosis. But it really explores his character in a great way, and it gives him vulnerability that he maybe hasn't had before, and he's always been in rejection of his kind of hero status, but it now seems like he's in a transition to try and embrace that a little bit more, and we finally get a proper costume for him, like an X-Men costume. It's a shame because I do love that punk aesthetic, the school uniform with the kind of anarchic t-shirt slogan or whatever, but this costume's really cool. Really, really cool.
It's like a birthday suit, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's your standard kind of X-Men type, but it incorporates his, because that's my Quentin Quire tattoo there, but it incorporates his Omega logo, and it's kind of black and pink, and then he's using his psychic powers to create psychic glasses. I'm not selling it at all. I probably sold his Peach better. Can't wait for moves of the mum. Well, Andy, if this show couldn't have got more civilized, it has now.
Cheers, Andy. Thanks.
Yeah, but he's winning that every week. This guy.
Thanks for dragging the mood. Thanks for dragging the moves down, Andy.
But yeah, so I just wanted to give a shout out to that book anyway, because it's really cool, and it's got Jumbo Carnation in, who I believe is basically me as a comic book character. He's just like a really camp, fat, bald guy who
love to see
designs all their costumes and stuff. So yeah, should we get Andy's book out of the way?
Oh,
we can do. I didn't read it on the basis of what you guys said. I didn't
show
read it.
Charlie where you haven't actually read the book.
yeah.
I was all set to read it. Hold on a minute. I was all set to read it, and you guys are like, even Andy was like, I wouldn't bother. So, I mean, I'd like to hear about it if you can do it with no spoilers.
Well, listen, right. I hadn't read the first issue, so I read the two back to back, and I think the concept's really cool. Like, I really loved the concept. Like, I loved at the beginning that we kind of got seen, and then there was like a massive leap in time. Like, it was like 254 years later or whatever. Like, I loved that, and the premise was really interesting to me. Like, the idea that scouts are kind of like now the defenders of this apocalyptic wasteland. But for me, it was problematic. I think, I think the gender thing all felt a bit dated and a bit like 90s Mulan. Like, it's kind of, 2021, it's not the taboo that they are painting it as. We live in a world now, thankfully, where people can be whatever gender they choose to be. Do you know what I mean? And they can change their mind from Monday to Tuesday, and that's amazing. And this comic, especially because it's supposed to be set 254 years in the world, like I'm sat there thinking, well, in 300 years, I'm not surprised if people don't have a set of both. Do you know what I mean? So it felt very kind of dated that, the spoiler warning. Where's your sticker?
Oh, okay. There you go.
There you go.
I love its positioning.
All right, take it off now. Take it off. Don't deprive the world of this. For me, it just felt really outdated, the whole like her taping herself up and pretending to be a boy and things like that. And I was a bit uncomfortable with that. And also, I was just thinking, like, these days as well, like scouts, like, you can have girls in the scouts, right? Mm-hmm. Like, brownies is like anything go. And I mean, I was a beaver myself back in the day, but I just thought, where are those guys? Where are the beavers?
Beaver.
Yes, she said that. But yes, that wasn't a Red Nose Day segue. Cool. I'll do that at the end. But so for me, the book as well, I think once I kind of got my back up a little bit about that, I struggled to kind of keep up. The artworks, it's classic indie artwork. It's very kind of sketchy and, a bit sporadic and stuff. And it just kind of lost interest for me, and it got a bit wordy in parts. And no deal, Noel.
Tom?
Okay, well, I have to give this book a bit of props. I mean, the idea behind it is great. The whole like post-apocalyptic thing, everyone's pretty much like dead, and it's a bit Walking Dead-like in that aspect. A bit like the video game Fallout. So like they're all in little colonies and stuff. I thought that was really good. I thought David Propose has done a great job in writing this thing. But like Ben said, the idea that she's having to pretend to be a boy, to be part of the Scouts, to be part of this elite Rangers group that goes out and like looks after people and takes down burning caravans and stuff like that. I kind of was a bit like, I think this story's been told too many times, and even though your premise is slightly different because you're talking about them being scouts, not like police officers or people in the army, I think it doesn't make it too. It's not enough different for me. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I just felt like it was a bit same old, and I agree with Ben. The artwork was a bit sketchy, and I didn't feel like the artist was actually telling a story. No offense to the artist, because it's hard work doing storytelling as an art form, but some panels didn't go together, and I kind of was like, I don't get it. Like, how do I go from here to here? Like, there's no in betweeny bit. I know they give you credit for your brain, But what if your brain doesn't quite do it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I did enjoy bits of it. But overall, I would say this was probably the worst book that we read this week.
And Andy's in the chat, and I would like to. I mean, he read that, and Andy likes his indie. He really does. But I'd like to know what he actually thought of this comic.
Yeah.
So,
and also the kiss annoyed me as well. Like anyone who's read it knows what I'm talking about, because again, it was painted as a taboo moment when really it's like it wouldn't have been. It's not a big deal. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like it's just as embarrassing as anyone kissing anyone when they weren't invited to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was painted as a taboo thing when she realised that they knew about the secret anyway, and it was all a bit like I don't know. I just think they missed the mark a bit on the subject matter.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you
the PC police, do you know what I mean?
No, but if you were to suggest it like as a comic like suggestion for what people are currently reading, what would you say it kind of falls in line with, or is there nothing really out there that?
That Wastelands thing in America, that's like an apocalyptic thing.
Yeah.
I can't tell if Tom's talking to his missus or the dog.
The missus, she just brought me a hot chocolate.
Oh, right,
well
yeah,
done.
it would have been
Well
weird
done,
if the
Charlotte.
dog
Well
wasn't
done.
there.
Yeah, she's well done.
But I
I
think
love
on
a good
that
Charlotte Hand cameo.
Yeah, Charlotte can come. She just passed me some food as well.
hand of the week, we should do a hand of the week, shouldn't we?
Yeah,
Feature of the week, hand of the week.
Marry that girl, man.
Teacher of the week.
On
I'm trying to.
On that note, with Tom getting a decent cuppa, I think we should just go on to the next one, which is
Which one we doing, mate?
Radiant Black.
Oh, okay.
God.
So
There we go. Oh, I've got to get.
For this read. And it was sold
There's loads of covers out for this, Tom.
Yeah, there's tons, so many, and so many good artists have done covers for this. And Kyle Higgins is a great writer, and Fellow Costa is a great artist, and they've done this together. They've come together to put this book together, and I was like, "This is going to be cool." It was sold to me that if I was a fan of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and if this would be right up my street.
Yeah,
I got into it. I read it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good read. It is very similar to everything else I've read about superhero comics. It's got nothing different at the moment, but you can tell that this guy, this Nathan, who's a bit broken from life generally, he then gains this power of this black hole. But you can tell that he's not comfortable with it. So this is set up for more issues. So if you go off the one issue, I think you're going to be a bit like, meh. I think this is one of those ones you're going to have to read 2 or 3 issues to get into, like Invincible and Power Rangers. But it was very predictable. That's my only criticism. I thought this entire book was predictable. But I did enjoy it. I thought the artwork was really good. It was a fun book to read, and I enjoyed it.
I've got to agree with you on that. I thought it was predictable. It wasn't the way it was set up, like where he's come back, he's like down and out. Do you know what I mean? He's come back, and it is very. The premise of it is a down and out guy becomes a superhero. The way that it's set up, I really enjoyed the artwork. I thought the artwork was very well done.
Yeah,
and to be fair, the story was. But as first issues go, it's like if you're not into that, or you're not a fan of the artist, or you're not a fan of the writer, that comic would have just gone under the radar for me.
Yeah, exactly.
It was only because there was that.
Was originally when it came out, and I think Firepower, both the I've forgotten his name now. That's going to drive me mad. Robert Kirkham's, both titles, they kind of went under the radar. Then once they're 5 issues in, you're like, oh my god, I've missed 5 issues of this incredible book. How did it all start? I think this one's going to be exactly like that. I really do.
I think, because obviously it is Image Comics, Radiant Black will be in crossover.
Could
I
well
wouldn't
be
be surprised with that, to be fair.
Would anyone care? Like, I honestly just...
Mr. Positive.
Yeah, I think we need a disclaimer or a warning.
Let me say this, right?
I'm going to have that as a happy moment. Happy
Don't
moment.
abuse your power.
Happy emoji.
Don't forget, mate, I'm running my own stream in March, all right? So don't abuse your power.
Hold on, you ain't said it yet.
Get my
You're spoiling it. I thought you were saving that to the end. I'm not sure if that's going to be more annoying, that spoiler sign, than it was who knows this knows.
No, well, it's pretty hard to get any more annoying than that. But no, I felt like the lead in this was so unlikable. Like, you say down and out, but really, was he? Like, for me, it just like reeked of like white privilege. Just like, like his mum and dad were like proper like nice and supportive, and like the guy's like got himself in ridiculous debt. And I just kind of felt like, I just really didn't like him, and his like he had like a 90s sitcom mate, you know, that like really like arrogant, annoying,
like Joey from Friends.
No, because we like Joey. Like Joey's likable. Like you know, the mate in Shallow Hal.
Oh yeah.
Like people like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I wasn't enjoying them before the thing happened, and then obviously the thing was just like I was just like, well, this is just bloody Green Lantern, isn't it? Like, it was just
in fairness,
it's so unoriginal, and I just really it had no redeeming features for me. I did the artwork. I will say this: I did like the kind of crisp cleanliness.
That's what I liked about it. Yeah,
very clean.
And
I did like that, but nothing else.
Well, this is what I was saying at the start of the video. Is like, I know we're going to get into Orcs next, but out of all the 4 books that we originally chose, yours was the best, mate. This one would have been second for me.
Yeah,
I think Thunderbolts was by far the best of the 4. 100%.
Well, you know, look who picked it. So what's next then? Orcs.
Can I just say one thing, right? This cover here, by Sheldon Bucaret, right? I think that's Bucaret.
Yeah.
Tom passed up on this cover.
I did.
Right. And this cover has been one of the fastest selling, if not the fastest selling, for a first edition of a new superhero in Image Comics. This comic cover sold out. I was speaking to the artist the other night, and it is literally flown off the shelves.
All right, Charlie, kick a man while he's down.
But do you know? And I spoke to Tom about it, and I was like this one, and like there's so many of them. It's easy to just get caught up and think, oh, I'll get that one. That one's nice. That one's nice. But it's a good looking cover. But I think the cover, or some of the covers, are more do the comic more justice than the actual comic does.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like all these people who have got it, like in a few months' time when they're on the 5th issue and it hasn't got better, and it just kind of dies a horrible death. Like all these mugs out there who paid a lot of money for variants or whatever CGC things, they're going to look like donuts, or it might be really good and increase in value, and then who's the donut?
I can't hope have a bit of a build up. I really do, because it deserves it, I think.
So the premise, the end is that him at the end?
No.
That's another one, is it?
Yeah.
See, for me, it would have been more interesting if it was him. Because then ultimately you're following a villain. It's the story of a villain. It's not the story of a hero. Straight away, more interesting. I thought
it was going to be him. Like I thought, obviously the way that the story panned out, you kind of just put 2 and 2 together and think that makes sense to be him. And then when it wasn't, I was like, maybe issue 2 is going to be more interesting.
Yeah.
So it was a kind of a curveball that they threw in there, and it the ending piqued my interest more than the rest of the story. And I was like, okay.
I think I would probably agree with that, to be fair.
We'll see. I tell you what, you guys read the 2nd issue for me and let me know.
Will do.
Yeah.
I mean, up next, I'm going to keep changing this again. Right, it is. Where are we? We're Orcs. For God's sake. What am I doing here? Yeah, that's it. Orcs. I've got to be honest.
This is going to be Orcs.
Orcs was Orcs, if I'm honest. I was really looking forward to this. I thought, oh, hold on, it's kind of your forest, do you know what I mean? The things you kind of grow up in, like the villains, the Orcs tying back to like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. For me, it was very childish.
Yeah.
I was like, I was reading it. I read it twice and I thought, hold on, maybe there's something that I'll get more interested in as I'm reading it. And it really weren't. Like, it's kind of like the kids v adults. The kids go off to try and prove their worth, and then they end up meeting a bunch of ravage whatever animals they are. And I was just like, I was disappointed with this, if I'm honest. It looked like in Boom We Trust. Yeah, I get that, in Boom We Trust, but come on. There's got to be something more. Like,
I'm just going to put it out there. This was worse than Scout.
Mm-hmm. You reckon?
Yeah.
I didn't read that, but maybe I had the wrong choice. The comic covers, they're all right. I mean,
the covers are stunning, and the premise behind the fact that you're going to follow a group of orcs, it's a Kaboom one, so it's obviously going to be a childish book. But I kind of thought, because of Last Witch being so good, that this was going to be very similar, like written in the same way. It's kind of like for an adult, but a bit like like the Pixar movies are for children, adult content. I kind of thought Orcs would be the same, but it really wasn't. It was literally like it had been written for a 5-year-old. The artwork was okay, but the story made absolutely zero sense. I had no idea what was going on. And I was like, yeah, this is just not. I didn't read the whole thing. I read about halfway.
And I had such high hopes after reading The Last Witch. Like, The Last Witch is awesome. Like, I really like that. And that's from Kaboom. That's wicked. That's kind of like, as you said, a kid's comic for adults, and it is wicked. It is amazing. I really, really like that. And issue 2 has been really good as well. And with that in my mindset, I was like, this can only tie in to this as well. And it was just a letdown. I don't think I've done a stream where I've said that there's a comic from Boom Studios that I've been disappointed in, but for me, this was it.
Yeah, that's it, mate. You're off Ross Ritchie's Christmas card list now, pal.
But you know, you can't win everything. Like, and you know what? Like, maybe this is going to get better, but I'm not interested in following it up. And I like everything. Me and Tom are pretty much similar. I'll read anything. I like comics. I like everything in general. But for me, that was just. I've got no interest in reading that again. The ending was shocking. The middle was irrelevant, and to begin with, the funniest part was at the start of the comic, where
I was going to say I actually liked the first few pages more than the actual book, and that was a story being told within the story. Because at the beginning it was like, right, okay, so it's Moomin style art, you know, that kind of cartoony, okay, fine, and kids book or whatever, no problem. But then as those first few pages played out in my head, I was like, this is quite similar to like Adventure Time, where everything's so kind of like, I hate the term, but like random. Like it was so random, but like and I was like, okay. So I was kind of reading it in that like Cartoon Network style humor, you know, that a lot of their cartoons have at the moment. And then, the story just went to part. There was no real kind of attempt at like proper character introductions or to get you to invest in anyone. It just, I mean, and also there was no real reference to them as actual orcs. Like what's an orc about? Like what does an orc do? Why are orcs often painted as like, you know, the scary monsters? Like, so they didn't even need to be orcs. Do you know what I mean? Because there was no
there's
kind
more
of
than
like,
one of them. Are they an orchestra?
Oh, did you have that joke?
It just came to me now.
No, it didn't. You wrote that. You wrote that a week ago.
That's the only reason he talks, I think.
I know, but I think Andy's right. Like, obviously, the Comic Assassin said Orcs was kind of advertised as being a book more for kids.
Yeah.
Understandably, you could, but I don't. If I was a kid, I don't think I'd be interested in that as well. I could give that to my 9-year-old, and he wouldn't want to read it.
But it doesn't, you know, like I'm a massive Disney and Pixar fan. Those are kids' films, you know. But they're wrote in a way that can be enjoyed in different levels, but this just didn't. It just wasn't.
And Andy said this was picked. This book was picked because it was Boom Studios. Do you think? I think if this was done by anyone else, say like Image or I don't know, Zenoscope or someone like Dark Horse or Titan, this would have gone under the radar.
Yeah,
I think it's only because we're so positive about Boom and everything. We're kind of like, it's Boom. It's inevitably it's going to be a great comic.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, it weren't.
No.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, me and you were very much like puppies that just like love everything. Oh my god, that cat's cute.
Sorry, just been attacked by this little one here. It's just trying to press all the buttons. Look.
Put it away.
Put your pussy away, mate.
We've had Peter of the week, now Pussy of the week. Here we go.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, because me and you both like love everything. Like, when something like this happens, it's really difficult to try and find something really positive to say about it. Now, honestly, I couldn't artwork because it was childish and a little bit movement-like, and I thought that could be a nice way of telling a story through the artwork. But not even that did it for me this time around.
And I was gutted because I was looking forward to reading it, but it was, out of the 4 comics I read, that was the worst one for me, honestly. I liked Radiant Black. I think I liked it more so because of the artwork. The artwork was very clean, it was very fresh, it was very modern, it was very like meticulous, perfect. This one just, I was gutted about it.
Yeah.
Which is why when you suggested the next comic, Ben, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have
We're coming up to an hour. Are you guys going to talk about it for another hour?
No. It is just going to be Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Mighty Morphin number 4. This has been hyped up. Mate, this is the main cover, right? And then we've got there's the 1 in 10 in High Oakley variant. There's this one, which is insane.
Yeah.
There's this one.
I love that cover.
Which is incredible. You've got this one, which gives away who, again, this is a spoiler cover, who gives away who the Green Ranger is. You've got this one.
Do we know who it is now then?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
So number 4, Ryan Parrott, and we've got this one. Right.
Go on then, pop your spoiler warning on, I want to know.
There we go. Right.
Get your badge out.
There it is. Spoiler warning.
Okay, so hit me then.
So Tom, as you are a guest, would you like to give away the spoiler of who it is?
Oh, okay, so
because you called it to be fair.
In issue, I think me, you and JP got together a couple of months back actually, and did a review on the first 2 issues. And in the first issue, you come across a character who Rocky is gymming it with, and this kid's wearing like red and blue and green. No, he's not wearing any green, but so like I think it was GP Venom that said he isn't wearing green, so therefore he isn't the Green Ranger. And I was like, I'm calling it now. This kid is gonna be the new Green Ranger. I can't even remember his name, but Matthew. He turns out to be the Green Ranger, and he's got a problem with Tommy, which is why I thought he was going to be the Green Ranger. But yeah, he's
just a random kid then from the school.
I don't think it's going to be. I think he's got a relationship with Kimberly. And then he's going to be like, they're going to explore that side of the fact that he's a rival to Tommy. That's why he's the new Green Ranger.
So the backstory is he dated Kimberly. He dated Kimberly, and then Shattered Grid happened. He got kidnapped by Rita Repulsa. The Power Rangers rescued him. He found out that Kimberly was the Pink Ranger. It didn't work out. They split up. So he's kind of always had his thoughts about what's happening.
In the pie? Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. But it was the ending of that comic for me was just very similar to Batman the White Knight, where Bruce Wayne is on the big screen and he gives away and he says, look, if I'm going to be the Dark Knight of the people of Gotham City, I think it's better that you know who I am, and we do this relationship from the start. And he does that. That Mighty Morphin comic is very much like that, but it's done in a way that I was like, I'm so happy that you've just told us who you are.
Yeah. It was so good, and the build up to who it is and like who it could have been has been really good. This series,
Yeah.
I think Ryan Parrott's done a great job. I do like the start of this book at the moment, where like they do a little bit of backstory on Zordon.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's come to fruition of whatever that's about. But yeah, I thought this was a really solid book this week. Definitely going to be one of my top picks this week, I think.
I still thought it was going to be Skull's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Really did think, but then obviously we find out who she is and stuff like that. But I think overall, Power Rangers #4 is out this week. So Ben, next week. So Ben, the way they've been doing it, I'm not sure if you know, but they bring out Mighty Morphin and then they bring out Power Rangers the week after.
Right.
And each cover, they're pretty smart how they've done it. Each cover, these are the last editions, but you've
Ben,
got,
your piece is very much
matching covers.
Yeah, no, because I did get #1, and I did really enjoy it. But the problem is, I'm like a very basic Power Rangers fan. Like I still live in the 90s series. You know, like I haven't. There's a whole wealth of storytelling and stuff in the comic books that I've just not really delved into. So it's sometimes hard, isn't it, to catch a train when it's already been, stopping everywhere before. And so I will catch up at some point because you guys have sold it like all the time. But
you get an opportunity to, or you find yourself not having much to read. If you read the compendiums, like I think it's the first 3, like Epic Book 1, 2, and 3 are spot on. After that, it kind of dwindles off before Ryan takes over. So the first 3 compendiums are really good, but you have to stick with the first couple of issues because they're very much like "Hiya, kapow!" But then they get rid of that in a really cool way. So yeah, it's worth reading for that.
That's Ben's 7 Secrets face. There we go.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about that now?
But overall, like, I'm not being overall. There was only about, I think it was 152 comics that are out this week, and there wasn't that much. It was a pretty light week from Marvel, pretty light week from DC, Boom Studios. Yeah, but that was it. Like, it was. Next week looks pretty decent though. But Tom, I'm not sure if you've got it near, but have you got that 9.9 anywhere near you? I just thought it'd be great just to show it off for people that.
I don't, mate. No, I've took it inside.
Look at you in your fancy man cave. Charlotte came all the way out to give you a tea.
It's not that far away, mate. It's like if someone had chopped the room off your house and just left it where it fell. That's what it's like. Basically, we have a 3-story house. It's a room on top of a room on top of a room. So we only
That's
have
what normally happens with a 3-story, mate.
Yeah, it's literally just like a kitchen, then a living room, then a bedroom. That's it. There's no like anything else. There's no like corridors or anything. And then outside we've got like a little studio area, which is pretty cool. It is pretty cool in here, to be fair.
But you did well. You did well on that show last night. You got like a couple of 9/8.
I cried.
Yeah. Oh, but it was worth it. If there's anyone in the chat that hasn't seen it, head over to Not Quite Mint and check out their latest CBCS.
Yeah, CBCS. I've spelt it wrong on the
CBCS unboxing. And the last comic is pretty fantastic. To be fair, it's pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm annoyed at the side.
I wouldn't let that leave my side, mate.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you don't like turned it into a backpack.
Yeah, I might.
There you go.
Like you said.
But yeah, I think that was a pretty light week for comics. What have we got planned this week, Tom? What have you got coming up on the channel?
So actually, I think this next coming week is a week off for Not Quite Mint, purely because I have got personal things. I have joined the fire service, so I've got a lot of training this week coming. So we're kind of having a bit of a week off. But there's lots going on the website. There's a new King in Black, Tyler Kirkham cover coming. We've got a couple of other bits coming that I can't talk about until after Saturday, because I'm not allowed to. So yeah, and then we've got our claim sale goes up on Friday. If anyone wants to join our Facebook group, you get a chance to get any of the books that go up on our website at a slightly discounted price. So yeah.
And you have been dropping hints of something that will be happening.
Oh,
Is it this Saturday? Is it this Saturday? Yeah,
It's already pre-recorded.
You're plugging for you, mate.
Yeah, so it's already pre-recorded, but we have a extremely special guest joining us on Saturday. And if you aren't following us on Instagram, you won't have seen any of the hints. But basically, we have one of the biggest comic book YouTubers joining us on Saturday for a bit of a chin wag. But I'm not going to tell you who it is. You'll have to go over to quitmint.com and find out, or join us on Saturday at 10 a.m. Sorry.
10 a.m. I'm looking forward to that, man. That's going to be hats off.
I didn't even know I was filming with you, but it's a weird way to ask me to come on the show. But okay, I'll see you at 10 a.m.
Mate, it's already pre-recorded because every time you come on the show, we just cut out snippets and put it all together. So it looks like we've done one really big long show with you.
No, look how long we're going on this one. Every show I do is long.
It is. And Ben, what have you got coming up, mate?
Just my usual. So Thursday, 5 p.m. GMT, I will post my picks of the week. So yes, cover of the week, panel of the week, and overall read of the week. So please do head over to my channel to watch today's. Other than that, I have announced that on March the 18th, I will be doing my first ever live stream on YouTube, but it's for charity. It's for Red Nose Day. It's going to be a big comic book fundraising, geeky Red Nose Day extravaganza. So yes, that's on the 18th at 8:30 p.m. on my channel. There will be chances to bid for comics. I think I might be doing a raffle as well. So do keep your eye out on my Instagram, because all of the information for that will be going on there.
I'm sure we'll have a couple of Funko Pops added into that for you as well, mate. So no worries about that.
You and your Funko Pops, mate. Amazing. Thank you so much.
But yeah,
I think those additions, Tom.
Those are additions, mate.
Amazing stuff. So yeah, I mean, everyone's been really generous with donations and stuff. So we've we're getting some books. I'm even getting a slabbed book, and Charlie has now said it recorded live that he'll give me some pops, which means he has to now.
Yep.
So
it won't be that
it's
upside down one that Andy and GP Venom have been talking about. They were saying that it would have made more sense if my Stranger Things were upside down, but that's Peter Parker holding his mask, hanging upside down when he meets Mary Jane in the alley. So that's why it makes sense.
You know, when you say that out loud,
I was going to say it's supposed to be a romantic scene, but in Charlie's voice,
with his mask in an alley.
Give me your money.
Pretty much.
She gives him more than her money. But yes, so that's my channel is the usual stuff, and obviously my Instagram. I did a really weird Photoshop today. Not the one I posted. One I'm going to post probably tomorrow or the day after. Really weird. Like, I feel like I've got a problem now with these Photoshops. I need to draw the line.
Nah.
I'm drawing the line at Colin Farrell. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one. Oh, yes. I'm looking forward to that one. But yeah, the Foot Clan one you put up earlier was pretty decent.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm just so bored. Purple mask, I thought. Yeah.
Was that Dot's footprint on your head, though?
How big do you think her feet are? She's only 7 months old. Freakish child.
But yeah, there is lots going on. Obviously, we are doing this every 2 weeks. There is a fourth member, but he's cuddled up with a Care Bear. His head in a box of Lemsip, and he's got Vicks cotton wool buds sticking out of each ear. That is Andy from
bullshit. He just didn't want to come on here and defend his book.
I know. But he did come on and say, "Get your hose out for the lads." I guess that's referring to when Tom drops his pose of the week.
Yeah.
It's a good contribution. It is a contribution. We miss you, Andy.
But yeah, we'll be doing this every 2 weeks. I've literally got my Monday show that goes live, Mr. Consistency here, every Monday, 12 o'clock, where Ben gets his cover of the week from.
Basically. I literally every Monday I watch it. 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh, babe, I pick my cover. I like this one. I like this one.
And that's it. But yeah, it's hopefully next week is a better read for comics. It's been great having you two in my company tonight. Obviously, watched the rerun of the show before this, which was with the fantastic David Nakayama, where he talked about everything from where it began for to him, what he's been working on, who his idols are, who he idolizes and looks up to, what he's got coming up. And yeah, it's been fantastic spending 2.5 hours with you guys.
Gosh, when you put it like that.
I know, it's long. And we even had a 15-minute toilet break interval. We had a 15-minute interval, didn't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for everyone. It's been consistent in the chat tonight. It's been great. Thanks to everyone that got involved in the previous show. Thanks to everyone that's got involved tonight. And I hope you all have a lovely weekend. You two, I'll probably talk to you straight after this on Instagram so we can rip it out of Andy for 1, suggesting scouts on a 2, and 3 and 2 for pretending he's got a cold and just didn't want to get on and defend his comic in his honor. But on that note, guys, it's been fantastic, and see you later.
See you.
See ya.
Bye.